All right. Um, just bear with me for a moment here. Just want to make sure everything's running smoothly. Let me just check the audio, make sure everything is working well, and then we'll get right into it. All right, all right. It looks like everything's running smooth. So that's always a good sign. Um, of course, I'll start off saying Shalom. Of course, all praise to Yahweh and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And just going to be another open mic. We always like to do these. Yesterday I was re-listening to the one we had yesterday, and we had quite a few characters stop by. You had this guy named Babel stop by. You had this character named or even Grace stopped by. You had oh hell, who else stopped by yesterday? You had someone named Raphael. But Raphael, that was an interesting character, right? An interesting character. I think the brother was very sincere, of what he's saying. Right? I believe that Raphael is very sincere, with his reasoning, but certain things he said, I think we would have a disagreement, you know, on, but that's all right. That's all right. But it's funny because what we do is whenever we get somebody new who stops on, you'll notice that what we do is we ask them, a series of questions, right? We just ask them, very simple questions, maybe 3 or 4 questions, containing to the scriptures, so we can understand the level that they're on. So one of the very first things that we'll ask somebody is, do you know that, Jesus, who they call Jesus Christ, is actually a so-called black man, right? Do you know that Christ is a so-called black man? We always ask that because what you find out is that a lot of guys don't know that, right? That's a big stumbling block. Like I was just joking around. Before I started, I went on a Christian Discord server and I just put up a question in their debate page, because they're picky and choosy about where you put your links for your videos or ask questions on. They have to do it on the exact page, or they'll want you to delete it and repost it there, right? So I had to be slick. So I went on there. It was like, I hear guys are saying that that Jesus is a black man. What do you guys think about that? And I had to be sarcastic, talking from a third person perspective, just so they didn't boot me from from the chat room. Yo, Shalom Mind of Golf, what's going on, man?
Yo, ETT, what's up, man? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm surviving. I'm surviving. How about yourself?
You're going through the list of interview questions where we test people's spirits?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was just commenting on that, and I was saying that before I hopped on here, I was just on one of those Christian Discord servers, and what I did, and I did not get a response yet because I just did this like 2 minutes ago, but I put in there, I told them from the third person perspective, because I didn't want to get kicked out for causing controversy in there, but I
Yeah.
said, there's guys going around saying that, Jesus is a black man, they give this and this verse to support that. What do you guys think about that? Is that correct, or is that, not correct? And if it's not correct, how do you suppose that I should debunk what they're saying? I try to talk from a third person perspective, as I often like to do,
Yeah.
just to, not get booted from the chat for causing controversy.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to play dumb sometimes, around these Christians and stuff like that. And that's an obvious one. You don't even necessarily even need the Bible to prove that. It's a biological fact, that God would be dark skinned. So and the Bible obviously supports it. So
Right. So as I said, man, when you deal with these Christians, it's funny because
dude, can I read
you
this verse?
know,
Right? Can I read this
go
verse
ahead.
just so
Yep,
people understand? There, we
yep,
can
go ahead.
get this. We can get to this truth in many, many, many different ways. This is again what we've done. We don't just read one verse, Revelation 1, and okay, that's it. No, you look at the whole book, then you look at history, then you look at the narratives, the prophecies, and everything. And the evidence points to the fact that Christ was dark skinned, no doubt. That America's mystery Babylon, and when you put those two truths together, you have to ask yourself, if this is the place of deliverance, then who are the Israelites? You know, who are they? And then it's simple. Daniel 10:6. His body was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. If Christ's appearance doesn't matter, well, why is it in here? Why is it in the Bible? If it doesn't matter, it does matter.
Right, right. Because you see what they're teaching, and here's how weird it is. Because the Christians will be like they teach that, and I believe it's called, what is it, replacement theology, where they basically believe that Israel was basically done away with. The Lord ain't really dealing with them as a
Right.
people anymore. But now the
Yeah.
church, basically took the place, right? So the Christian church, a
Wow.
denomination of all, groups and races of people all coming together in the name of Christ. They're saying today, now that's the bride of Christ. But Israel, was done away with. The Lord really ain't dealing with them, anymore. So it's just crazy what the hell these guys are talking about out here, man.
Wow. In order for God to do that, this would have to happen. Jeremiah 31:36. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. And so if the space and all that stuff that they're coming up with is true and all that kind of stuff, then we can say that, that the Israelites have been done away with. Verse 37, thus saith the Lord, if heaven above can be measured and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith the Lord. So that doesn't surprise me because all these people are ball earthers, spinning ball earthers. So they are true to their word in that regard, that they believe that their God, who, all this vast space, and they know where everything is beneath the earth. And, even Raphael and all these people, oh, I know purgatory. They know all these deep things, literally. And so in their theology, Israel has been cast off. And then good serpent is the new Israelite or whatever. So like, man, if those
Yeah,
people are the Israelites, we're screwed, man. That's just a fact.
yeah, and I seen that he's about to go live in like 20 minutes. I seen, it's funny because if we were to go over there, he wouldn't let us on. So
No.
here it is, he can talk about, Jesus this, Jesus that, but then when it comes to defending, what he believes, and the scriptures even speak about contending for the faith, he don't want to do that. He'll invite, what was that one guy that you had on your page a week ago? The guy that came from Good Servants page. I forget the brother's name. Um,
Michael? Yeah, Michael.
yeah, him. That brother was on there. He was from Good Servants channel. I was on
Yes.
Good Servants stream the other day, and listening in, and I saw him in the comment section. That guy from your stream the other day.
Hmm.
So don't let guys like that on. But when we want to hop on,
Yeah.
somehow that's now a problem, of course.
Yeah, I mean, Michael had courage to come by, and so, good serpent's about as sharp as a wet blanket, and so that's just what it is, man. And so it's not like we gonna learn anything from them. It's just funny, at this point. So, that's to me, again, this is what ETT and I email back and forth a little bit here and there. It's like all these wayward doctrines prove that the Bible's true or prove that the Bible's ridiculous ultimately, because then like it doesn't matter, like if it's not true. And then yeah, everybody's just kind of trolling it and then making up different things about it. And it's just something to pass time or feel good about yourself or be an inspiration. But if it's more likely that it is true, and that's why there are these wayward doctrines, and that's a fulfillment of Bible prophecy. So if there weren't any false teachers or very many of them, then that wouldn't be a fulfillment of Bible prophecy. And so we have a strong inclination we're in the last days because of these people with wayward doctrines, which is one of them is Christ is white. That's
Right.
not my God, for example. So if anybody worships that God, I wish you luck. And I mean that sincerely. Like, that's just not my God at this point, and never will be. So we'll see.
Right. Right. As I said, man, yeah, it's definitely getting crazy with these doctrines. But yeah, I didn't get to hear the whole conversation between you and what was the brother's name? Raphael, who was on yesterday.
Oh
What
my
ended up
God, dude.
happening?
Oh man, it was literally about 3 minutes of us not yelling, but my throat is sore from yesterday of just basically like the way I do it, talking over each other. He read me my rights. He told me that I'm a heathen. You get ready for slavery. You're gonna be my top slave. Yada yada yada. And so I was just talking over him. I'm like, you're an animal. You're retard. And I just said everything to him. And so
But you see, here's a problem, and I try to call him out on this.
yeah,
I understand, that they, have an understanding about, who heathens are. I agree with that. However, there is a problem, is we know that there's something called confusion to face Israelites. You'll have Israelites that look like the other nations.
yeah,
So how, just by that logic, right? How can he come on here and say that you're a heathen just by how you look?
yeah,
You can't do that because you
correct.
have Israelites who look like the other nations of people. So hell, you could be an Israelite. How the hell
Yeah.
does he know it? You're not
And this is
just
the
by
point.
looking at
And this is the point this is why ETT and I talk and are a bit of a stumbling block for the Israelites, whoever they are. It's like, you have to know as much as us. Okay. If let's say me and or let's say just me, let's say I'm not an Israelite, fair enough. I mean, I can't prove that, but I do have a genuine interest in the Bible throughout a majority of my life, just like ETT. But like, you can't come here and like say you're an Israelite and then we teach you things. You know what I mean? And like, that's not the way it works. Like, you're supposed to be teaching us things. And what we find, these people that come on these panels, we end up teaching them things. And so, like, for
it.
example, the flat earth, it's like, well, why is that? If I'm a heathen or whatever. And so, I mean, whatever, if I'm a heathen, I'm a heathen. I don't know. Like, but that's my point too about the end times. It's like, the Bible says the souls of the just complain continually. So if you're an Israelite and you're not complaining continually, then you're a sellout, or you're not an Israelite. And so if you're comfortable in this world, or making a 5-year plan and all that stuff, and like Zabak is talking about making a community of something, raising 100,000, you're not a real Israelite then, because a real Israelite wouldn't do that in the times that we live in now. I'm not saying that that wasn't righteous in the past, planning and all that
Right.
stuff, but not now. And so the Bible says, "Come out of her, my people," not go in and
Oh,
set up community.
and that's a
Okay,
cut. That's a cut to Perry right there, because Perry, when I was listening
hundred
to
percent.
him, I don't know if you called it, but what he's basically telling people is, hey, look, you just claim Christ, and then look, you can basically go live your best life. That's basically what he's saying.
Yeah,
As long as you claim Christ, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. If you want to go smoke, if you want to, go lay with animals, if you want to, steal from other people, if you want to murder, hey, look, all of that's fine as long as you claim Christ. You're covered. You
yeah,
can't sin as long as you claim Christ. So basically, what's the difference between an average person in the world who doesn't believe in Christ
exactly,
compared to him who does believe in Christ but is doing the exact same thing? There's
exactly,
literally no difference.
right.
But the one claims that he believes, and the other group does not believe. There's no difference other than that.
Yeah, and the difference ultimately is one will get more judgment if the Bible's true. The other person's going to be judged based on, they may not know as much or whatever. They may not read the Bible, but now that Perry, and this responsibility is on us too. Once you read the Bible and then teach it, then we have a higher responsibility, a higher
Right.
calling to answer to. And so this is what I want people to know. People come by my channel and make fun of me and say, you were wrong, and that's fine. I have no issues with that. But I ran what I feel was a race where I'm comfortable with my conscience. But if you're anybody out there who's of the elect, then you have to know things. That's why we ask people things about hell and flat earth and Christ's skin color and all that. So it's not like the elect know everything, but they're not going to argue with us and say, no, 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 it's a spinning ball, or no, no, Christ was white, or no, 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 hell is the underbelly, or whatever they say. Like, they're not going to make up stuff. They're going to listen. And this is why I give credit for Jack, because I have a feeling Jack has done his due diligence. He was on the panel yesterday.
Right.
He said he watches all these videos and he summarizes it, like RV Truth, me. ETT. So that's what we've done. We've watched all these videos and we synthesized the information, and then we create our own theology. And so not everybody does that. They come here and start prophesying out of their belly. Second Ezra
Right.
16:63, then the tested
Go ahead.
quality of my elect shall be made manifest like gold that is tested by fire. And so that's going to be determined in the last days through tribulation. That's the testing by fire. But God's elect is going to be made manifest, meaning that we're going to be able to witness it, see it. And I don't see it in very many people. Raphael just went off, dude. But anyway, go ahead. It was crazy, dude. It was
Yeah,
wild. I kind
I
of
was
wish that
gonna
it was
say.
there, but it was insanely funny. It would have been just a loop of two people like yelling at each other. But anyway,
Right, right.
yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say, building off of that statement, we listen to certain characters, certain of these flat Earth guys, certain things they say are correct, dealing with science, some of the history and stuff. But then when it comes to the scriptures, that's when they go off the deep end and don't got a clue what they're talking about. Like, I'll give an example.
yeah,
You talk about this character, I believe his channel is called, what is it, Feed Your Mind, the black guy. He's on there talking about, the flat earth, but I'm gonna tie in the whole, you know, UFOs are fallen angels and that hell is underneath the earth. Hell
yeah.
is basically where you go. And their whole theory that they came up with is they're saying that the lava from volcanoes is basically coming up from hell under the earth.
Wow.
That's the whole idea that they came up with. So that's a good example of what you just said. We
Hmm.
listen to what guys are saying, and we take certain parts of what they say as truth, but then there's other parts that are incorrect. So the
Yeah,
same thing with the Hebrew Israelite groups, like Sakari, for an example. They say certain things that are correct, but then they say certain things which are incorrect.
right.
So we gotta, watch, and read between the lines, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's all part of the deception, because if there was one group that had all of the truth, then we would know it at this point, because a lot of the stuff is pretty much out there now. And so, if that's part of the deal, and then so that's what the environment, the ecosystem that God has made, where you have to get a little here and a little there. Just like in the Bible, you got to get a little here and a little there and build, precept on precept. It's the same in reality. Like, you got to get a little bit from RV Truth, get a little bit from Rob Skiba, get a little bit from Tahar and Zabak. I watched a lot of Zabak at the beginning. And so he was my first
Yeah, well,
Hebrew.
I was listening to that interview you were telling me about, which what was that? There was RV Truth, who was interviewing the man who did the documentary.
Right.
What was it?
Bart
Was it
Sibrel,
the Astronauts Gone Wild?
Gone Wild.
Was
Yeah.
that the documentary?
Yeah. He
Yeah, yeah,
quote
I
unquote
was
exposed
listening.
them. Yeah.
Right, right. That was a good documentary, by the way. Everyone should check that out. But I was listening to the podcast, and there was a part where they talked about UFOs, and they were like, "Oh, all of that's fake. All of the UFOs are fake." And I'm
Yeah.
sitting here thinking to myself, and remember, I'm one who actually seen these things with my own eyes and caught them on video before, right?
Yeah.
Unlike a lot of other people out there, but many people around the world have witnessed these things with their own eyes. So how can you sit there and tell us that what we're seeing with our own eyes are fake?
Hmm.
That's not logical.
Yeah, I agree. And this guy has some amount of influence because he's out there, and he's well known for that documentary. And it looks like he was on Kill a Priest podcast recently, and so was Dearth. And so it all shows. So Kill a Priest used to be a Hebrew Israelite. He would be somebody who probably learned from GMS or One West and all that. And now look at all these people; they're all like turning their back on the Bible, literally. Kill a Priest in particular. And so they're all in the same group. They all have their flat earth starter kit. Okay. Like, it's the same thing and over again. And so that's the cool thing about it, is that it's kind of obvious now, like you'll hear something from somebody, they'll have a good teaching, and then they'll say something else. You'll be like, oh, okay, 2 for 2. And then all of a sudden they'll be like, UFOs are fake. They're falling. And then you're like, oh man, okay. So like they didn't even get to point number 3, and then they just bring out something.
Oh man, and that's how it'll be, man. I mean, hell, that's not even a damn joke. Sometimes you get disappointed,
Yeah,
listening to
100%.
certain guys that they'll be right on one or two things they're
Like
saying,
Rebel.
but
Dude,
then
I
they'll
thought
make
I thought we had a brother
yeah,
there, Rebel, right? He's cool, but then all of a sudden he's
yeah,
like, "Yeah,
yeah.
UFOs are fallen angels," this and that. I'm like, "Man."
Oh, I don't know if you've seen it. I wanted to ask him this, but it totally slipped the mind. But he teaches rebel believes that nuclear weapons are a hoax, is what he believes.
Wow. And it doesn't surprise me that those two kind of go hand in hand because they don't believe that God is capable of that much evil. That's what it fundamentally boils down to, because those two things that ETT just talked about are delivering a tremendous literal KO to the earth. Okay. So that's why they don't want to believe that. They do not want to believe that God would inflict that much damage on his earth through the UFOs, the angels, or through nuclear weapons. And so, again, this is not what thus saith me or anything.
Right,
That's what the Bible says. And if it were one verse, then we'd be like, okay, maybe we're, taking that too far. We provide a lot of verses because, again, like we said earlier, we prove this to ourselves first before we go on YouTube and teach it.
right,
So it's not one verse that talks about UFOs. That would be a weak position if that were the case. The problem is it's everywhere
right.
for them.
Right. We can give multiple, reasons and verses, to validate what we're saying on that. You know what I'm saying? But going back to the statement you were making, about listening to some of these guys, man, I mean, hell, I can't even tell you the amount of times, that you get disappointed, listening to certain guys that you liked, who are supposedly, in the truth community, they were saying things that are, correct and are right, but then they'll
Yeah.
completely go off and making a logical statement, such as you got guys out there, oh, like Eric Dubay, right? He'll sit there and tell you the earth is flat all day and, give you good scientific, information and historical, information. But then he'll say, oh, all dinosaurs are fake. It's like, wait a sec. Oh, and then
Right.
he also says all nuclear weapons are fake. And then that Jesus is fake too. It's like,
Yeah.
where the hell are you getting that from?
Yeah, and
All
that
they're
well,
really
no,
doing.
that's a
Go
form of
ahead.
spiritually crucifying Christ, and that's why, that's, I believe Eric Dubay is not in America, but he's an American, I think, originally, but that headquarters of that philosophy is in America. So if you say Christ doesn't exist, or you say that he's white, or you say that he's anything what the Bible says, you're spiritually crucifying Christ. So just know that. That's a fair warning, for us too. Like if we're teaching that Christ incorrectly, then we're putting Christ on the cross again spiritually. And so
I believe Eric is in what is it, Thailand or something like that. I believe he's
yeah.
over there.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah,
He's a bit of
yeah.
a fruitcake, so that's kinda where he should be over there, so it's yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
too bad
I
though.
bring him up as right. I bring him up as an example because he'll give you good information on a couple topics,
Yeah,
but then they'll completely go way the hell off, telling you that these ancient dinosaurs, all that's fake, all of that's fake, Christ, all that's fake, so you get disappointed.
yeah,
It's like, well, you were telling me good stuff, but now I got to reconsider you because now you're, going off the deep end. And I'll give another example.
mhm,
There's other guys I used to listen to that were Hebrew Israelites who were, saying good stuff, but then they'll go off saying that, that the Vatican City's mystery Babylon and that, that Christ is not a black man or, some nonsense like that, so then you
yeah,
gotta, you know, question them. So, we do the strike rule. Hey, look, 3 strikes and you're out. If you get 3 things wrong that are major, hey,
yeah,
then we really can't watch them anymore because that's going way the hell off.
yeah. You become, the butt end of our jokes at that point. Maybe even up maybe even prior to that, but you become a comedy at this point, and that's like Zealots of Israel. And so, like Eric Dubé's smart too, so it is kinda too bad that he wasn't, into the Bible more, but, that's kind of, strange, especially for somebody that's spiritual, that you have to debunk the Bible then if you're a flat earther, and then so the responsibility is on other people now, because for us, it's like, it's obviously true, it's just how is it going to fulfill itself and when? And really the how is not really that debated anymore. We have disagreements on the sequence and the timing of things, but the general narrative is fire and destruction.
Right.
So, I don't know how a person at this point can debunk the Bible. Mike tried, in that hangout, just like whining over words. Okay, well, show me this, show me this. Like he's going crazy. Like it's like he's like a damn freaking secretary with like
Well, you know
OCD.
what? You know what's funny, man? You know what's funny? I should
Yeah,
have sent you a damn screenshot of this. I reached out to the guy. Yeah, I reached out to Mike on Discord, right? And I was asking him because again, he's on there. His new doctrine is that the New Testament's fake, and you were talking to him about that on one of the last panels. And I asked him, hey, look, man, come hop on, because he didn't get to talk to me about it yet. So I
Right.
told him, hey, come stop by, let's have a friendly chat. We'll hear you out, but then, let's have a discussion about it.
Mhm.
So he was like, hey, look, I can't really talk about it because I don't really know what's going on. So then I was like, wait a second. If you don't know what's going on, then how the hell can you say the New Testament's fake if you really don't know what you believe to begin
Right.
with?
Right.
Doesn't that sound like contradictory? And then
You know what's
nobody
Oh, sorry, go
pointed
ahead.
this out.
Yeah.
Nobody pointed this out, but just 2 weeks ago, this cat was on a 9-hour stream,
Right.
you know, um, defending the New Testament. And now here it is 2 weeks later. Now he's coming and saying the New Testament is completely fake. So,
Right.
I mean, that shows you that these guys they're hearing
Ah,
things that sound good and are just believing that. I mean, hell, give it another month, man. This guy's going to be on there saying that, that the New Testament is real and that there's 100 missing books that we don't have in the Bible. I
right,
guarantee you
right.
that's what the next thing's going to be.
We called those guys flip-floppers in the flat earth because they would be flat earthers, go to ball earth and come back to flat earth and be like, "Oh, so I just put a joke in the comment. Mike's got his flip-flops on." And so it's funny, man, because I even said something about the Bible has apparent contradictions, and he's like, "No, no, no, those aren't a contradictions." And he actually defended the Bible, in those contradictions a couple of weeks ago. And so ETT's right. And then now all of a sudden he's like, oh, no, no, those contradictions mean that, the Old New Testament's fake and all that kind of stuff. Like 2 weeks later, he blew his shofar in the morning and just really clear. Maybe got his lungs cleared and his brain cleared or something like that. So that's funny as hell, dude. Like the guy is sitting on a hangout with like his head covered and it's like a damn Saturday Night Live set. It's just like Biden giving his whatever the hell Biden says, man. This is just funny as hell, dude. Like it's not funny, but it's funny. It's crazy,
Right,
man.
right.
But that's not surprising, and so this again, this is not to be arrogant, but this is why I think ETT and I know at least why we're surveying the field, so to speak, the flat earth, is that we have to be at the end because no one's gonna take our teachings and teach it to their kids and their kids and their that's not gonna happen because people won't allow it because the New Testament is being destroyed by truthers. And the Old Testament, most people don't even care about it. Definitely not the Christian church. So, what hope does the Bible have, except for the few people that have some idea of what it's going on? So that's why I believe
Right.
strongly that this has to be the end because it's the end of the Bible. Doesn't mean that the world maybe isn't maybe will go on or whatever, but the Bible, the book, is in its last days, no doubt, because every doctrine you can imagine, and imagine if time were to go on, they'll be like, no, 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 Christ was a rainbow, so were his disciples, everything, everybody would be a rainbow in the narratives, and so at least that, and so
Did you
that's what would
see did you see it? They have something called a what is it? A Queen James Bible is what they have, which is basically like a pro rainbow, version of the Bible out there
Right,
now.
right. Yeah, and that would
So
happen.
that just shows
Eventually
you.
they would just slowly start rewording things to be, all the gender pronouns that they talk about now, they would make the Bible, friendly to that. And then eventually it would just be like there would be no prophecy in it. There'll be no destruction. Christ returns on a rainbow instead of a cloud or a chariot to destroy. It's like, it'll be all that. They'll just rewrite it all. And so the fact that the Bible's made it to us in a way that is reliable, that in itself is a miracle. And everybody's saying the same thing. At least what we read in the Bible is destruction prior to a
Right.
kingdom. So
What's real crazy though, man? Going back to Perry, I mean, that guy's like the new talk of the town. That guy's like that has to be the one of the most bugged out characters
but
we
do
have
you sin?
ever
But do
seen.
you sin? But do you sin? We're talking about hell. He's like, do you sin? I'm like, dude, we're not even talking about that right now, man. It was wild, dude. What a dummy.
I don't know if you called it or not, but I was asking him trick questions because I wanted to, stump him, but what he did is I asked him, what about, rainbows and people that lay with animals and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
he was like, "Hey, look, Christ, hey, Christ that loves all of them. Christ died for every
Wow.
single one of them." So hey, look, it's I can't judge them if they're going around doing that. Hey, look, as long as they believe in Christ, hey, look, they can't sin. As long as you believe in Christ,
Yeah.
you can't sin. So basically, what he's saying is, yes, you can be a rainbow, and as long as you call upon Christ, then you're all good. That's basically what he's saying.
Psalm 7:11, God judges the righteous, and God is angry with the wicked every day, every single day. Sometimes we have a good day, we don't think about the evil, we're distracted. God is angry with the wicked every day. Can you imagine that? So, and if he's angry, we don't have any power when we're angry. He does. So what's
Oh,
coming?
oh, and wait a second. I thought, according to Diana, that the God of the Bible, the real God of the Bible, doesn't hate anyone, right? Jesus wouldn't hurt a fly, right? The
Right,
real God of
right,
the Bible doesn't hate anyone. But wait a second, it says right here that the Most High is angry. Wait, the Most High is angry?
right,
Wait a second, that doesn't sound like love right there. I thought the Most High only had one emotion, that was
right.
love, according to the Christian church and according
Correct.
to Diana, which has a woman's name, but it's actually a guy somehow. But
That means
I
you're
mean,
totally finished. But anyway,
absolute,
yeah, God can be
absolutely
jealous, he
nonsense.
can be angry, he can be kind. He has all these emotions. Like, he also has a sense of humor. He uses sarcasm. Christ used sarcasm with Nicodemus. He's like, "You think you're a master of Israel, you don't understand reincarnation?" That's what we're telling people. Hey, you can call me a heathen or call any of us a heathen and a bug out and all that, but we're asking you, if you're a master of Israel, how come you don't know the earth is flat? Or how come you don't know about reincarnation or these topics that we know? So Christ used sarcasm as well. I'm sure he had a sense of humor as well. Like, he wasn't serious 24/7. So God's angry. Okay. And it's not, and if you're not angry even a little bit, the Bible won't make sense. That's what we've realized. If you're not angry even just a little bit, then it's not for you. You'll be like, why is this God so angry? Like, everything's fine here. Like, I got land and a job and this and that. So that's the deal. And so think about the mark of the beast prophecy. Can't talk about it too much, but why would a God do that unless he was angry? That's billions of people. So
Right.
we got Manny trolling in the chat. Manny's got his flip flops on. Manny used to be a flat earther. Now he's like, the earth is not flat. And so, like, dude, Manny, what the hell happened to you, man? What's going on, man?
Wait,
Totally.
wait, is he just joking around, or is he serious when he
I
says
mean,
that?
he's just a troll. Like, he's the one that has the handle, Mexicans are the tribe of Issachar. That's
Oh,
Manny.
okay.
Yeah. But he used to be on my panels like back in the day, and then we would
Yeah,
talk about
yeah, I
flat earth
know
with
him.
Mies. Yeah, and all
Yeah.
that. So maybe he's a
Yeah,
ball earther
man.
now. Him and Mike should hang out and they could compare their flip flops.
Right.
That's wild, dude. People flip flopping on the Bible. This is a bad time to give up on the Bible, people. Bad time. I'm not saying there's a good time, but this is a bad time to turn your back on the God of the Bible, man. Holy jeez.
Right, it's just as I said, man, it just shows the time that we're in with all of these, bugged out, wayward doctrines coming out. I mean, it was funny because I was listening to what are these guys that Cross the Line Radio with Tazariak on there. They're part of the ISUPK.
Yeah.
What's that stand for? Israelite School of Practical Knowledge, I believe.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Um, yeah, yeah, but there was a guy who called into one of their streams, was having a discussion. And then later in the discussion, he revealed that he believes that he himself is the Christ in the flesh today.
Wow.
So it shows you, I mean, hell, there's two people right there, him and Samuel Owen, right, the king of the hill.
Yeah.
You have two examples there of people around the world claiming that they are the Christ. And that's
Mhm.
only two examples. So think about all the tens of thousands of other people who are not on the internet teaching that, but they believe that themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's actually in a way what people in a weird way Christians believe, that Christ's righteousness is imputed onto them. That's not true, in right now. And that's why we get into the new covenant. So a lot of Christians will say that, "Oh no, he bore my stripes, his righteousness is my righteousness." Well, no, it's not. You're righteous and not like Christ, you dummies. Okay? They'll go to those kind of verses and try and manipulate that. And so that's fundamentally what the Christian church has been pushing as well. And so, no, that's not the case. Okay, is that the plan for a group of people in the kingdom? Yeah, in that kind of thing. But Not now. Okay. Joel Osteen is not Christ, and he does not have the righteousness of Christ, because if he did, he'd be pissed off, very pissed off. And no one's going to listen to his sermon. You know that big stadium they got in Houston? There'll be like me and maybe one other person that'll go there. Like 3 people would go to his freaking sermons if he was in the right spirit of Christ.
Right,
So,
right. I mean, hey, look, man, the truth is, that if we, right, truthfully, if one of us was to teach these, as Mike would call it, right, these skibbies, right, if we were to teach these skibbies, in one of these church houses, we
mhm,
wouldn't really have anyone there listening to what we're saying compared to these churches right now. Why? Because we're bringing out the truth, right? We're telling
right.
you what, hey, look, you got to come back to the Most High. You got to put aside, the sins in your life.
Mhm,
You got to put aside your own opinion and your own feelings. You got to come back and follow the laws,
mhm.
right? And that's what you got to do. And people are not willing to do that. That's why
Yeah,
they love the Christian church. I mean, hell, man, don't
yeah,
get me wrong. I know somebody, just to give one person as an example. Um, they're a dedicated Catholic, right? But here it is, they're sitting there eating the ham and all of those, seafoods and stuff like that.
yeah.
I'm not saying you can't eat seafood, but there's certain seafoods that are, restricted in a dietary list. So those
Right,
are the seafoods I'm referring to.
right.
Um, but they'll sit there and they'll eat all that. So I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a second, why the hell are you sitting here eating these things if Christ said it, you're not supposed to be eating that then they'll
Mhm,
respond and be like, oh, well, Christ made all foods clean. It's not that what goes in the mouth that defiles the man, or
right.
that what comes out, right? Just like our good friend Ridge Napper, right, who collects books and never reads them.
The
He'll be
librarian.
on there and saying
Shout out Rich. Yeah, and I want people to understand that's why the Bible is a warning. The law, that's why the law is a warning. And so if you think it's not active and you go and eat those foods, God's going to let your body's going to judge against you. It's going to let you know that you shouldn't be eating those things. And so that goes with us too. And so if you stick to what the Bible says, then you would be eating natural foods, or at least try. And so all those things are good. And then if we don't do those things, then there's judgments in place. Obviously, we hope for mercy because a lot of us can't afford that type of diet and then lifestyle, that's needed for that. But so I believe God's aware of that. But it's all a protection mechanism. And so once you step outside of the bounds of God's law, then you're ripe for judgment. And that's this whole world is lawless. The Christian church is completely lawless. Like there's so much adultery going on in those churches. Like you probably need a damn computer to figure out like who's doing what and all that kind of stuff, like who the pastor's been with. And now we have pastors like Eddie Long being exposed for being with young men in his congregation and paying for them to go all over the place and all that. So I mean this place got to go,
Yeah,
man.
crazy stuff, man. I'll tell you one thing for sure though, man, that if Perry got his own church,
Oh wow.
establishment set up, hey,
Wow.
he'll be having I mean, hell, he'll be the next damn Joel Olstein out here with his congregation,
Yeah.
telling them that they can sin, do whatever the hell they want as long as they call upon Christ. That's what
Yeah.
people want to hear right there.
Yeah. That's their kingdom, that's them. Everybody we see is trying to make a kingdom here, even Zabak and other people, and even to some extent Sakari. And it's like, they're rappers and, it's just nightclubs and all this kind of stuff. Like they want their kingdom to be now. We're letting people know the kingdom is in the near future. Just be patient. This is the patience and the faith of the saints. Okay. Don't set up a damn freaking, a corporation here. Okay. Because this place is going to get burned. And that's what I also realized was happening with Raphael yesterday. He doesn't want to believe that the fire that's coming is going to destroy body and soul. Well, I'm like, well, let's wait and see. Well, you're going to see it to believe it. Then he's like, he thinks it's some other fire or something like that. And so we'll see. There's a country right now getting bombed mercilessly. And so you don't think that they're in hell right now for people listening?
Oh,
You
but
don't
I
think that
forgot
fire is
though,
real?
all I forgot, all of that's fake, right? All of that is fake according to RV Truth, right? So all
Jeez.
of this video footage of these buildings being hit, all of that's fake,
Yeah.
just to scare people. I mean, come on, man. These guys are just getting to be too out of hand with these, Illuminati conspiracies here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just utterly ridiculous. Real things actually happen in the world. And if that wasn't the case, well, then you couldn't believe in Christ then,
Hmm.
because
He's
All we
behind
got
it.
to do is read, yeah, all we got to do is read Mark 13. What is that? Luke 21, Matthew 24. We all are familiar with those. And it speaks about these events that we see going on in the world. It
Mhm.
says that they would be happening. So
Yeah.
obviously, there's real things that are happening in the world. It's not all staged,
Yeah.
to just trick people. It's not all fake,
Well, I
So
thought
these
I thought
guys are just
Corolla
going to it.
inside joke was fake, but now we know that it's real. And then so people like RV saying it's
Right,
not real, then they're liars. And so then they're
right.
not giving God credit for what he's doing to what we believe be the narrative for the last days. So you're taking away credit from God because God's doing that destruction and those pestilences. So RV truth is about as deep as a shot glass. I heard somebody say that recently. And so these people are just they're so deep, but you can't deny reality at this point. And what's the reality is that we live on a certainly a stationary Earth, and that's what the Bible says. So NASA's fraudulent, and then
Hey,
we
look,
see chaos and
let me
confusion
say this,
everywhere.
man.
Yeah.
Let me say this. I was playing I was playing a game yesterday with my younger brother and his friends. Right, we were playing a game called you ever heard of Minecraft before? We
Yes.
were playing that. Yeah, yeah. That game was one of my favorites growing up. I played that since we were like 10 years old or whatever. But I was playing with them yesterday on there. We were on like how they have servers set up where you can interact with people all over the world. We were doing something called a build battle, which is basically where you can, make structures because it's basically like Legos in a virtual, realm, so to speak. So here's the reason I brought it up is we're doing a build battle and the topic of this particular one was space. So what I did is I ended up making a damn flat Earth model
Hell
and
yeah.
said that the Earth is flat on the Minecraft, so all of them could see it. Just as just to put it out there for 'em.
I'm pretty sure a majority of Americans have at least heard of the theory at this point, and I think you guys
Right.
were talking about how many people have heard John 3:16 in the world, and I think pretty much everybody, a lot of people have heard of the flat earth at this point. And so, doesn't mean everybody's a flat earther, but it's out there. And then ETT is pushing it even in video games. So there we go. I don't talk about that on the golf course because I don't want somebody to get angry because then they're gonna, and then you have to talk to them for 4 hours. And so I don't really bring that stuff up out when I go out. And I used to do it more when I was in Uber and Lyft, but I don't really talk about that even anymore because they're driving me, so I don't want them to get angry and stuff. Because like people get angry when you tell them that. They'll be like, "No, it's not," and "How can you be so stupid and you're dumb and this and that?" So I'm like, "All right,
I don't know if you've seen this before, but one of the since we're talking about video games, on one of the Call of Duties before, they have something called accessories, which are basically you can attach them to your firearms in the game. And there was one attachment, there was like a charm. And the charm was actually like a flat Earth model enclosed in the dome. You
hell yeah,
you can look it up on the internet to see a picture of it, but it just shows you, right? They're putting this stuff out there in these video games and in these movies, right? Why do you think these movies make references or jokes sometimes, about the flat Earth, like what we saw in The Simpsons?
yeah,
Obviously, if they keep going back and making a joke about it, there must be something, that they're trying to
correct."
tell you about.
And the flat Earth Illuminati card. Let's read this, man. It even says they're on to something. So I mean, they tell us right in those Illuminati cards, like that. That we're not stupid. So again, you don't believe it just because of the Illuminati cards, but it's like the question is like, why are these all in these like movies and TV shows and like, little hidden references here and there.
Yo,
And
let me
then
chime in real quick.
yeah,
We in the back chat we have Last Days Messenger. You have to add a profile picture onto your account, or it will not allow me to add you to the stream, and it gives me this problem with certain people that click the link. So it's not just you it happens to, but what you can do is drop out and then click the link again, but add a picture to the background, and then it will give me the opportunity to add you to the stream. But if you don't put that there, I will not be able to add you because it just restricts it for whatever reason. I'm not sure, but that's just the what it does. Just to give that disclaimer out there, because I see you back there, but I can't add you until you put a picture onto the the thing. So just drop out, click the link again, and just add a picture, and we'll bring you on. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, they're in this Illuminati card game or whatever. They're like, people laugh, but the flat earthers know something. And so, that's kind of a cryptic statement, but, in these Illuminati card games. But, it's, and even the word knowledge, know the ledge, or discovery, discovery. It's all like in plain sight now that we have eyes to see, wisdom, wise to the dome, so and somebody made a really good list of like 20 words like that. And I've tried to find it, that these words that, imply the flat earth, and it's a long list, but those are a few. So
Did you see in the same card game? Did you see they have the NASA one where they were faking the moon landed?
yeah, and the chariots one is a good one too.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
one.
So we know that God's behind that. So people are like, oh, how would they know that, and this and that? They're manipulating. No, God, those are clues. God's behind that. You think all these people are smart enough to put all this stuff in movies and all that kind of stuff? And like, you think there's one person on earth smart enough to do that? Satan's an idiot. Okay. He's using those people to do it. But God's doing this, man. RV's like, oh, look at these license plates. They all have 33. Yeah. You think one person came up with that idea to make all government license plates add to 33? Give me a break, man. So yeah, they have a NASA moon landing one with like, and they're on a set. It's like a big stage, and they got the Earth in the background, a big ball Earth. It's funny as hell, dude. So
Right, and that game is deep, man. I believe it was made. What was it? 96, I believe it was made.
was it okay?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe it was.
that's
But
close to when the internet
here's
came out, so that's when a lot of the truth started coming out. So it makes sense.
right, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, and everyone that's tuning in, I said we got Babylon, we got White Boy, we got IDL, we got Galapagos. Click that link, right? Click that link. Let's get people up in here. Um, but going back to what I was saying, oh damn, now I lost my train of thought. But I was saying something along the lines of
It came out in
you know,
'96.
dealing
That's
with
what you're talking about.
I was brought that up to say, there's certain cards in this, such as the 9/11 card. I'm sure you've seen the ones I'm talking about there. And the
Yeah,
card, talking about what we see going on right now with this juice. And remember, this was made back in 96.
right,
So those things actually happened a few years after the game, was out in circulation and people were buying it.
right.
So it shows you that's crazy that it had to have been, the one who made it must have had hidden information that they put into that game, man.
Yeah. And even in The Simpsons, like, why would they pick those topics? Why would they even go near those if there's not truth to it? So,
Right, right. Yo, YDO, what's going on, man?
Not much. What are you doing? What's going on with you guys?
IDL, shalom, shalom.
I shall reserve judgment on that, but fair enough. Just a dumb question with that. I'm curious. Why do you say shalom instead of shalom?
No, I'm kind of making fun of the Hebrews, but I'm
Oh,
sure
okay.
you'll
No,
be
that's good. Okay, we're
yeah,
on the same page there. This is
yeah.
good.
But
I never understood that. I never did because, like, you
well, you
don't
must
think
not know Lashuan Kadash.
Lashawan Kadash is essentially saying there's only one vowel, which is ridiculous.
Okay.
Now, a lot of, Hebrew is essentially, there's implied vowels,
Okay.
but there could be room for interpretation. But what I can't understand with shalom versus shalom, you really think that one word, the most common word, would not have been carried out going forward? But anyway, that's.
Well, me and Manny sometimes joke around and we say shawarma, which is a food that I like to eat. And so we're like shawarma.
Shawarmas are good. I'm a fan of those, yeah.
Yeah, it's tasty.
Yeah.
So ETT, how's your diet going, man? Are you still fat? Or are you like you getting healthy or what? What's going on?
Oh, I mean, hell, man. I do what I can. I do what I'm able to. As
How are
I'm
you
sitting
dying?
here drinking a damn Red Bull.
Nice. That's sick, dude. Yeah, man.
What are you doing to diet?
I don't think he is because he's drinking a Red Bull in the morning.
Oh,
So,
good point. Oh,
but I was going through like a health kick recently, and like, you know, I got to get back to the basics on that. It's easy to slip back into my routine, but the one thing that I do that's healthy is I eat at Chipotle, or at least for me is healthy. And so, you know, I eat there pretty often. So it keeps me honest.
No, it is. My big thing is I've cut out processed sugar, processed carbs,
Yeah.
and just can't get over that crap that's being fed to us. It's
Oh, so you
evil.
acknowledge that the food that we're eating is defiled.
Oh, there's no question about it.
Oh,
It's
that's
not,
excellent.
I mean, nutrition-wise, the stuff is absolute garbage. And
Okay. There we go.
yeah, there's look, you can't argue with the science on that.
That's actually Bible prophecy. You probably know that will be the case. Ezekiel 4:13 predicts that, and the Lord said, "Even thus shall the children of Israel eat their bread defiled among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them." So everywhere worldwide, that prophesies defiled food worldwide. So we're living in Bible prophecy.
Well,
Just by the food.
let's just say this: I'll take your word on that because I know what I see.
Okay.
I also know that rates of obesity and all this other stuff has just exploded.
Yep.
You didn't see people like this 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. I saw one video from the 1920s of there's no fat people. How could there be no fat people?
Right.
And everywhere you look today, there's it's loaded with them.
Yeah.
So, no, that I definitely have to agree with, and and also I don't know. Did you ever see the science of fast food?
Yeah.
I mean,
I've watched Super Size Me. That was a good documentary.
there was one I saw, a science of fast food, and this was rather intense. I mean, they use science to figure out how to trick your brain to make you want to continue to eat their product.
Right.
And it's like, my God.
And I actually talked to a guy years ago. I've said this before, that, you know, like Subway and all these different places that say, oh, if you come here, you can lose weight. And they had a thing on that. They actually make the bread addictive. And so when you
Yes,
eat bread, it's almost like
Right.
you're eating a donut, and then you get
yes.
hooked on it. And so it's like, you know, that they'll put the food engineering and the science in there to get chemicals in your brain to, first of all, try and trick you into believing that you're not full yet. That's one of the key things that they do. And so they have signals that they can put, you know, through chemicals in the food. They'll get you to believe you're not full. And then people actually sometimes get gastric bypass to offset that. So they fake their body into feeling that they are full. And so this is the loop that happens, where people then go and get surgeries to offset that. But really all they need to do is just eat foods that don't have those signals baked into them.
I agree, and I
Yeah.
want to know why these people are not put in jail. I mean,
they
maybe
will
you could.
be. Yeah.
No, seriously, maybe you could explain to me why cigarettes have all of this stuff that they attach to it.
Yeah.
It's bad, it's illegal, you get sued, but yet soda doesn't. This processed crap doesn't.
Right.
False advertising. How many supposedly healthy things that are out there? Like, here's one for you. I don't know how old you are, but do you remember when Cheerios received the backing of the American Heart Association?
Yeah, I remember that stamp on the box vividly.
Right.
Yeah.
You notice it's not there anymore.
Interesting.
You know why?
Because it's not backed by them anymore.
No, they were actually they when they used to put their stamp on, they used to get paid. They got their own vig for doing that. The problem is that it's false advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And you're getting people that are now getting beaten up by eating this shit, and you're the one that's telling these people exactly what they should.
Right.
That it's healthy to do this, when in fact it's not.
Yeah.
Now, in that regard, we're on the same page. I find it to be.
Hey, IBL, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you still sin?
Yeah. Did you see me go on that panel, man? I represented us well. You know what I mean? I was just basically trolling, but it was funny.
Oh no! Look, that boy is. what he's claiming, if you want to just break it down to the very basics, what he's claiming, the 10 Commandments don't stand, the 613, nothing stands. Do whatever
Right.
you. I mean, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like Satanism.
What he would say with love your neighbor would be go and have adultery with their wife. That's what he would eventually
Right.
start saying. Like he would manipulate all the commandments to just do whatever you want.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. This is him in a nutshell.
The only problem with that theology is that once you do have those people together, it's easy to say that with a mic and a Diet Coke, but once somebody does evil to you that's in your congregation, you can't get mad at them. You'd be like, well, they're under grace, and then he'll start having to change his tune, once he's starving or once somebody harms him or his family. What's he gonna say? Oh no, no worries. Okay, it's like that's fine, there's no worries.
But
So
how are you going to? I mean, look, even you would just talk about health issues, right? The bad food, whatever.
yeah,
For the most part, what's the Bible? It's essentially an instruction book on life to live the healthiest and best life you can.
correct.
So exactly how are you endorsing smoking cigarettes? How are you endorsing using drugs? How are you endorsing eating garbage?
Right.
And this is what he's doing because, Jesus forgave it all.
Mm-hmm. That's why it says in Revelation 11:18, and should destroy them which destroy the earth. And so that destruction's physical as well through the factories and the chemtrails and all that, but it's also mental. People's minds are being destroyed. When have we been taught at a young age about the human body? When have we been taught how to take care of our body in terms of health, in terms of food, in terms of rest and all that kind of stuff? When have we been taught about money at a young age? Where does money come from? And then all that kind of stuff. So all these things, and then even obviously just God's existence in our physical reality. So though that's an element of people that destroy the earth. They're destroying people's minds.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
That's the deal.
I seriously, I couldn't agree more.
Right.
I find this to be absolutely revolting and repulsive in the crap that he teaches. And I guess what bothers me most of all with this is you're going to have weak minds that are going to go in there
Correct.
and actually follow him.
Correct.
And this shit that this guy's done. Sorry, didn't mean to use a full word. The stuff that this guy has done to other people that are just. I mean, he had a bunch of young girls and stuff at his trailer park.
Jeez.
And let's use your imagination, and I'll just leave it at that.
No, we went on there just to make fun of him, but I'd rather just leave him in the congregation of the dead, which is what the Bible says. That that guy's wandered way off.
Let me say this. It's funny because this other character that he has on there, I believe his name was, what was it, Timothy or something like that? Which is funny because we have a couple brothers that come around here named Timothy.
Yeah.
But
the Russian guy
the brother
was with him.
Yeah, the other guy that was on there with Tim, I
Right.
believe it was, which is I believe it's short for Timothy.
Yeah.
He's on there defending everything this guy is saying. Right?
Yeah.
He's on there believing that he's without sin and that hell was where you're gonna go with it. And all that bullshit. I mean, it's just utterly ridiculous that he's been deceived by Perry into believing all that.
But dude, that's even your boy Papa Tahar, man. That's why all these people are just being exposed, man. Sakari was exposed, Tahar is being exposed. Like Tahar is like, what's the point of that? First of all, you're talking to G-Man, who's a known troll.
Yeah.
And so what's the point of that? But then
G-Man said, don't forget this. I remember G-Man, that cat went down to the Apostles of Great Millstone, not too long ago. Was down there live with them a couple of times. But G-Man, he's on there saying that, hey, look, you can eat a mouse sandwich if you want. Oh, hell yeah, you can eat a mouse sandwich if you want today. So, I mean, it just shows you these cats are totally going way the hell off with what they're trying to say.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty much using the Bible, and then again, I want people to know that language is used on purpose, that stuff about, what defiles you goes in and all that, when it's really just talking about, cleaning your hands. So that's all there by design. And so people will be like, well, why would God do that? God's bringing the division. Let me remind people again. Okay. Clearly God has to be bringing division because there's division everywhere you look. If there was a little bit of division on earth, then we'd be like, that's probably not God. That's just man squabbling here and there. There's
Mhm.
countries right now bombing other countries. Okay.
Yep.
And it's not CGI. We initially I was like, maybe it is. No. Okay. Give me a break. Like, and then all that kind of stuff. So that's the deal. Okay. We know that now. God's doing this. That should be
Oh, and
obvious.
then you know what the funny thing is?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys caught this, but I was listening to Perry when he was on there, giving his spiel, out to the public on
Yeah.
there, and he was saying that, hey, look, I obey man's laws, because God said, hey, Romans 13, right, obey the government, right, we all have to obey the laws of men. So here's the ironic thing. So he's sitting on there saying he obeys the laws of the land, but he don't obey the laws in the scriptures. So
Correct. Right.
doesn't that seem like pure hypocrisy right there?
Right.
And then second, Romans
Yeah.
13 isn't talking about the government. But that's another subject. But
Pretty
it
much the
just
whole
shows you this
Bible is
cat's
talking
going
about
on.
the government of Israel. It's not talking about
Right,
governments or any, just in general. Like the whole Bible
right.
is talking about the governments. And I'm not saying they've all been righteous, because we've seen that. They've had
Right.
kings that are shady and all that. But yeah, that's fundamentally true. And we know that now. It's actually a very almost esoteric. It's an esoteric book because it's not meant for very many people. But the people that go and take it, they go and try and market it as, oh no, this is for everybody. We're reminding people, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily for me, but it's not for very many people. Because if it was, then those laws would rule this earth, and then we wouldn't be in the end times ever, which is the kingdom.
Mm,
If those laws that are in the Bible were running this earth, you would not have an earth in this situation. You cannot have an earth like this. It's impossible. You would not have the leaders that you have. You would not have the judicial system. You would not have a financial system, because usury and all that is outlawed. You can't just inflate the currency and go pay people with paper money. That's not allowed. The Bible says an unbalanced weight is an abomination to God. So he's against the money system. So
well,
you cannot
but the
have
money
this world
system, but that makes things go around. You're telling me they didn't have money back in those days?
not backed by nothing,
It's not
not just
backed by
printed.
nothing. It's backed by the full faith and credit of.
Exactly. They're just printing it and then paying you with your own money when you deposit that in your own bank account. So it's a
But
Ponzi scheme. You know what? Wait, Ideal. You know what a Ponzi scheme is, right? Where
I'm
you say,
fully
"Hey,
aware.
I got this thing. Pay me $100, and then I'm going to pay you." Then you pay them $1 tomorrow, $1 the next day, $1, but you're paying them with their own money. That's a Ponzi scheme. So our financial system, when God looks at it, is a Ponzi scheme.
Let me give a little story real quick. Just to show how desperate people are getting over here in Babylon the Great, aka America. My mother works at one of these grocery stores, right? So she was telling me a story that just happened, last night. 'Cause she works there. They had somebody, an elderly person, right? She was there shopping, and then basically a group of guys came up to her, and basically one, pulled her to the side and having a conversation with her. And then the other guys, went into her purse while she wasn't looking, and stole her wallet from her, and basically ran off with her money, right? And this was an elderly person that this happened to. So
Yeah,
it shows you, man, these people, they don't care who the hell, they're harming and stealing from. As
Agreed.
long as they can, steal from you,
yeah,
hey, look, they're gonna go for it, right? So that just shows the level that people are on, over here in America, man. People are doing bad out there, right? And,
yeah.
and this is supposed to be the the greatest empire, to ever exist on the face of the earth, right? America,
Mhm.
Right.
and it was at one point, but now we're in a time where this empire is now beginning to collapse. That's the time that we're in right now, and it's the
100%.
same way for every empire throughout history. Every empire had a time to rule, but then, as always, just like, hey, look, a coin has two sides. So guess what? It has a time to rule and to flourish, but then there's going to come a time where it's time to decline and to decay. And that's the time that we're in right now.
Yeah. And now the only question is God the one bringing down this power structure? Because he's claimed that he's brought down the ones in the past. So that's a wait and see. I'd be surprised personally if it's not, God doing it and doing it now. But that's a wait and see, because the God of the Bible makes very specific declarations of how he's going to do it.
Uh,
So,
yeah, as I said, I have a different opinion on this. I
but
essentially,
you sound like us more and more every day, man. So you got to click that link regularly, complaining about the food and all that. We're rubbing off on you. It's excellent.
No, trust me, this was way before that. I've seen people that have suffered with all of this stuff,
That's good.
and the more that I've read, if you want to have one thing that's very interesting, try to find a cookbook from like 150 years ago.
Yeah.
And what is very surprising about it is the amount of fat that these people used and what kind of shape that they were in. And then take a look at the crap that you even had 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And the amount of artificial garbage they were having people eat. And,
Yeah.
I mean, look, I could remember, I've got a couple of years on you. I could remember when margarine was pushed as a healthy alternative to butter.
Yeah.
I'm
I
serious.
grew up on that, so
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it.
You know.
Yeah.
You know. And fat-free mayonnaise, and it's like now they're going on the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
But it's funny, even in the term margarine, it has the kind of phrase margin, like for money. It's like a financial decision to go to those kind of things.
Well, they did a good sales pitch, because obviously vegetable oil has to be better, which is not even vegetable oil. It's like this derivative out of a vegetable oil, which is
right.
It's absolute crap. But when you see the financial incentive of the processed food, and let's just say I've seen more than enough people go through major health issues
Big time.
over this. Yeah,
I've been researching kidney stones, and that's a lot of that is because of these sugary drinks and all that. And so I'm sure people had kidney stones in the past, but the more you drink things that's not water, you put yourself at risk of a stone, and that's extremely painful.
I agree with you.
Extremely painful. So that's why I've cut out those sugary drinks, except the ones that have lemon in it. But a lot of this health stuff is related to diet. And then people now they're saying there's a mental crisis and all that. Well, yeah, of course there's a mental crisis when you have to work 3 jobs. You come home, all you can afford is a Big Mac, and then you got to wake up and do that again. Yeah, you're going to be mental.
Well, let me tell you, I remember back when my father was at the end of his life, and he was down because and the doctor wanted to put him on an antidepressant. And, he goes like, why should I go on an antidepressant? Because you're depressed. Doctor, I'm dying. Shouldn't I be depressed? And it's like, you know what? Yeah.
Exactly, dude.
Exactly.
I'm depressed and I'm proud of it, man. People come by here, say you're losers and you're depressed. Yeah, I am. Okay, fine. Okay, that's great.
Hey, grab me Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 18.
Yep. Then just to let you know, after this, we're gonna have to hop off. I've got a 10 a.m. and this one's gonna be a biggie.
You golfing?
Yeah,
idea? Cool. What are you up to, man?
I just got somebody come in and they made an offer for my house, and they came in major league strong, and they just going back and forth. So if things work out well, I'll probably be homeless within a month.
Well, we got a lot in common, man. Definitely come back, man. Ecclesiastes 1:18, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increases knowledge increase sorrow. So the more that you know about the way that this world is, you're going to be sad. Why? Because you realize, oh man, to make it in this world and increase, you have to be part of it. You have to actually do evil and all that. So it's okay, and then the last days, the evil is going to increase. So you become more sad. That's fine.
All right, guys, I'm going to have to jump off, but I'll be back.
Yeah, that's cool,
goes on.
All right,
homeless. Shalom. Bye now.
IDL is going to be a Hebrew Israelite in like a month. You know what I mean? Like he'll be okay. But
yeah, man. Hey, look, you notice, and I can't be the only one who noticed this, but a lot of these characters that come around here and talk with us, if you give them a couple weeks, they're going to be repeating majority of the things that we tell 100%. Them, such as that the Jews are so-called Negroes.
Yep.
That Christ, so-called black man, we're in hell right now.
Yeah.
The list could go on and on. Hey, look, once you listen to what we're telling you, the odds are very soon you're going to be repeating what we're saying. And we're not just saying that to say that you should be repeating us just to sound cool.
Right.
We're saying that you got to look into what we're saying. And even DeHar says this. We got to give him credit. He said, hey, look, if you hear what we're saying, don't just believe it because we're saying it. Hey, look into it for yourself. So I can give them credit, with certain topics. I heard what they said. It sounded crazy, but then I looked into it, and guess what? It turned out they were right. Just like with the whole, UFO thing, right? When I heard
Yeah.
that with all of these guys are crazy, because I always believed that those were, satanic in origin, right? But then when I looked into what they were saying, then it started to make more sense.
Right. Yeah, Proverbs 16:7, when a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies be at peace with him. So that's the deal, it's like they know that we're speaking some amount of truth, and in particular, like the food and all that, that you can't argue with that at this point. That's been proven, in the mainstream, so to speak, that our food is not food. And so the only question people now have to ask is that Bible prophecy or not? Obviously, ETT and I would say that it is. That's a judgment of the food being defiled among the heathen, because the Israelites wouldn't do that. They would never set up a lab. Hey, you know what? Let's build a laboratory, Johnson and Johnson and stuff like that. No, hell no. So that's a result of the heathen being in rulership, and Job 9:24, one of ETT's favorite verses.
Okay, hold on a second. Messenger, please click that link. Let's talk about that. You said tell me more about UFOs. I study this topic. They are all fallen angels in disguise. Hey, look, we're interested in hearing your research on it, right? Click the link. You can come on. I don't know if you're on a computer or on a phone. If you can get on a phone and join, maybe that will work better than a computer, because I've seen people have the same problem you had earlier with joining.
Mhm.
But if you use a different device, you can add a profile picture on, and then if you do that, it will allow me to add you to the stream because we'd like to have a chat about it. But that's totally fine. From our perspective,
Yeah.
we came, from the idea that UFOs were satanic in origin. But if you ask us now, off of our research on the subject, and again, we're open to hear what you're saying, but from our standpoint now, UFOs are actually God's chariots. And
Mhm.
again, if you disagree, you're welcome to disagree. But we want to hear your reasoning against that because we can show you in the scriptures where these UFOs are classified as the Most High's chariot.
And also the quote unquote fallen angels are the elect. 1 Timothy 5:20, I charge thee before God and the Lord Jesus Christ and the elect angels, that thou observe these things without preferring one another, before preferring one before the other, doing nothing by partiality. So the quote fallen angels are the elect. And so that's how inverted this world is. They're going to say there are fallen angels here and all this kind of stuff, and not understand that they're here for a judgment. So where do people get all these fallen angels and demons just falling from the sky? It just shows that they don't understand that God's playing both sides. And so if those angels come here and do quote unquote nice things, like build this system up and help the people, then yeah, then those would be the opposite of what the Bible prophesies. But if they're doing evil, then that's what the Bible says. So it depends what they're doing. And so if they're coming here in a spirit of like preservation, then that's not what the Bible prophesies. That's something, the government or something like that. But if they do evil, then that's the God of the Bible. And so that's why a lot of the world will say that, the hell is some spiritual torment out there, and then they're here visiting us and inflicting all this evil on us, when that's actually God
Right.
judging.
And Messenger, real quick, if you can't figure it out, if you can't figure out how to join, you can go on YouTube and look up a quick tutorial on how to use StreamYard, right? How to hop on the panel. You can go over there real quick and watch it like a 2-3 minute tutorial, and they can show you how to join a StreamYard podcast in case you're not able to
Heck, even
figure it
Good
out.
Serpent
Because
knows how to do it. He live streams twice a day, and he figured it
I'll say this. I'll say this. I understand that
out.
if you're just doing it for the first time, it might be difficult. Because when I did it for the first time, it took me quite a few times, before I could, do it with my eyes closed. Now I can, but it took me a few tries, to do so. So I understand. I'm not much of a computer guy myself, but let me see. Yeah, Messenger. What device are you on? Are you on a computer or are you on a phone? because sometimes it gives a problem depending on the device that you're using. Because that'll be an interesting discussion. Should we want to bring her on?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think she said,
what's left at this point, man? How can the Bible not be true? I guess what could make the Bible not true? ETT, like, I don't know. I guess if we lived on a spinning ball, then it would be not true. So
"Yeah, let
that's
me just
almost,
type this real quick."
yeah, that's pretty much it, you know. So people come by here. Yes, no worries. You can have your opinions and your narratives and stuff, but what you're going to be doing is not pretty much changing our idea. You're going to be telling us that the Bible is not true, and so that's a tall task. And Mike tried to lop off half of it, and the Christian Church are trying to knock out the rest, and so it's not going to work, you know, at this point.
Right, right. So it's just crazy, man. And oh, you got that what was that card in the Illuminati card game, the one with those UFOs? You want to read that
Yeah,
real
that
quick?
was a good one. Yeah. Uh, they won't get it. It's like the Church of Middle America is what it's called, and so they'll see the saucers up in the air and they still won't get it. So how did they word this? I think Jay was the one who said he had these on a PDF. It would be nice to actually have these so they're bigger. It says, so the Illuminati card game is Church of Middle America as a church with all these UFOs above it. And it says they'll never get it, even when the saucers are flying overhead. So there's clearly something to them, you know.
Right, right. So it's and again, it's funny because all of these guys that we see on the internet, they're all there talking about that these UFOs are, either the average simp believes that they're aliens from another planet, right? That's what the average person believes. But then, these conspiracy guys will talk about, all that's government propaganda, where all of that's fake, and then
Yeah.
the Christians will be like that, that's Satan and his angels that are going to deceive mankind. And again, we came from those ideologies, almost
Yeah.
all of us here, we believed that at one point in time, and many people who came, to some of the truths we have, even some of them still believe in those things.
Yeah.
So not all of us were able to see, through all of the lies, but that's just the way it is, right? Not all of us were made to see those things.
So we have Last Days Messenger saying that it's a fake alien invasion. So I would just keep an open mind on that, Last Days Messenger, because again, like the problem with that narrative as well is that a lot of us now worldwide don't trust our government. So they're not going to be able to be deceived, anymore, really. Like they're not going to just believe what the government says. So that's why for them to fake something like that in the sky, I mean, that's pretty like that's a stretch, that they would go to such an elaborate length, and then it would have to be across the entire earth. And like then the question would be like, what would be the objective of that? Like, what would those things do in the sky? Would they just appear and then like have a light show and then go away? Like, what would they do, I guess? So that's the question I have for people who believe that alien invasion's coming, because the reason we're skeptical of that as well is that that's part of the Flat Earth starter kit sold for $6.66 worldwide. Everybody says that, who's a flat earther, except a few people, that that this alien invasion's coming and they're fallen angels and this and that.
Right,
Like
right.
RV Truth.
Messenger, what is let's ask this then. What are God's chariots then? Because if we're wrong, fair enough. We could be wrong with what we're saying, right? And we'll humbly say that. We got to
Mhm.
take everything we're saying, upon faith at the end of the day, because the word faith just means a belief in something that can't be seen, right? So we got to take everything we're saying, upon faith. But I have to ask you though, is what would be the Most High's chariots, right? Because if these UFOs that people are witnessing all over the world, if that don't qualify as, the chariots of the Most High, then what would? I'm intrigued in seeing that.
Right. And that's what a lot of those flat earthers, Karen B and all those people, Bob Nodell and all that, like they're spiritual people. They obviously know that the Bible's true and we're living in the last days, because why else would the flat earth come out? The flat earth is important to know that all the deception and all that's happening here on earth, because the majority of this earth are ball earthers. They believe in deep space, outer space, and all these planets and civilizations out there. And so that's a big part of this alien invasion, because then they're going to believe that they're visiting us from some distant planet or something like that, which we know that there is no quote outer space. So, there's the firmament. So,
Okay, real quick. I see we got Messenger in the back chat, I believe. Messenger, do you see the option to add a profile picture to your account on there? It should be a real simple thing, and again, the problem that you're having, we have had many people who had the same problem countless times before, and it was easy to resolve it. They either moved to a different device and tried to hop in, or they, dropped out and then added a picture on, so maybe if you have another device, maybe you can hop on that device and maybe it will work, so you can try that, right? Just get another device and try to join from that device, and that should work for you. And by the way, Minor Golf, don't you have to have like a Gmail, and it uses that to get in?
I don't remember actually how I set up my StreamYard account. I think it is linked to my Gmail, yes, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you have
Yeah,
to have.
yeah. So just make sure you're in like your Gmail or something. It
Mhm.
should be pretty easy to join in. And I said it, I'll say it again. If you want, just take a couple minutes and go watch a tutorial. We can stay another while. We don't have to go yet. Go watch a tutorial. You can see how to hop in. So you can do that if you want to, but there's a couple options you can do. Do you have another device? If you do, then try to join from that device. It should work for you. And again, we've seen this problem countless times, so it's oh, we got LOP in the chat. Hey, what's going on, LOP?
J man. Jack Burton's like, even people that know the Earth is flat are under the strong delusion. God created divisions even within the flat Earth. That's absolutely correct. So we got flat earthers who believe we're in a simulation, who believe some that are atheists. Can you like some flat earthers are atheists? So I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's utterly ridiculous. That guys will believe that the earth is flat, but then in the same breath they'll say that God doesn't exist. I mean, come on, man, that's pure BS right there.
Hmm. That's wild, dude. Like, who would have thought, man? And I say this about myself. Like, who would have thought that I would be a 40-year-old man waiting for UFOs to appear in the sky as a fulfillment of Bible prophecy? Like, who would have thought that we'd be talking about that as a youngster? But that's what we know now. That's really certain of us. That's our only hope, because we don't have any other hope in our family or our job or the government. Certainly not. So here we are.
Yeah, yeah, man. Hey, look, as I said, hey, if this isn't the truth, then we're all done for if this isn't the truth.
Correct.
So hey, we
Yeah,
better,
exactly.
yeah, hey, look, this is our only hope right here, is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, to return and to rapture us out of here. That's the only thing, that we got going for us on this side. Because if
Yep.
this isn't the truth, then hey, look, we are all done for if this isn't the truth, man. Oh, and real quick,
Yep.
J Man, click that link, brother. Hop on here, J Man. Click that link, and you too, Babel. Click that
Yeah,
link. I'll
Babylon was
drop a
cool.
fresh link for it.
He was humble. He just said he didn't know, and I respect people when people say, "I don't know," and then I think that was cool. So it's not
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah,
God's not going to be mad if
Babel's
you say,
cool.
"I don't know." It's like you don't have to have all the answers.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Right, and we'll respect that, right? We'll respect if someone says that they don't know. Like we were joking with IDL, that brother should change his name to damn I don't know.
Yeah.
Because anytime you ask him a question, he doesn't really have an answer.
Right. Right. IDL is just a little bit hurt that that he's been replaced, as the Jews, and that's tough for a lot of people to digest when you're the king of the castle, so to speak, and then you get replaced, then that's not good news. So LLP's asking, was IDL here earlier? Yeah, he was, and we had a civil discussion. So it's getting more, productive when IDL comes by. So that's a
Yeah,
miracle in
this
and of itself.
time, yeah, this time he was very civil and respectable compared to the last times we had him on here.
Yeah, I mean, the reason that that's true too is the things that we're pushing, they're not conspiracies anymore. If they were, then we would be weird or something, but it's not, they're not conspiracies. Like, that's the nice thing about it. Like, the truth is no longer deep. That's why when people come here and try to get deep, we're like, why are you doing that? Like, it's simple. Like, Mystery Babylon being America is not deep at all. And if Mystery Babylon is not America, then the Bible's not the word of God. It is not. So there's no other options.
Right, right. Oh, and real quick, let's ask Messenger, what is Mystery Babylon? And look, it's okay if you can't work it out to hop on. We understand. We've had technical difficulties ourselves. Maybe another day you can work it out and hop on. That's totally fine. And as I said, I'll say it again. Just go on YouTube and look up tutorials, and they can show you how to work out the settings. Because someone earlier in the chat said that maybe if you check the settings on it, maybe you have to enable something in there. So in your free time, just look into that and maybe you can work it out.
Yeah, because only
As I
certain
said,
browsers, and also just for people trying to log in, you have to be in a particular browser too. Like, don't use like some weird browser, because I believe there's only one browser that StreamYard allows you to join from. So just keep that in mind.
LLP said he has a tutorial for it. Maybe he can.
I mean, Sam Owen has figured out how to do it. So, and he's smart, but he's not the sharpest, knife in the drawer, so to speak. And so, Good Serpent does multiple hangouts a day. And so, I watched Good Serpent's thing recently with Tom, because him and I used to have hangouts together. And I guess God is revealed to him about what reprobate means. And so he's like, he's saying, ETT's like, you know what, Tom? I just think some of these people are they're not designed to make it. We've been saying that for years, dummy. Okay. It's like you just figured that out now. We're in freaking 2022, man. He's like, you know what, Tom? Like, I don't think some of these people are ever gonna get it. Oh my god. So he should change his YouTube channel to Captain Obvious. Okay, Captain Obvious is live streaming twice a day now. You haven't figured out that some of these people are just evil.
Oh boy.
What the Bible says.
Hold on a second.
Come
Hold on.
on.
Want to chime. I want to chime in real quick. J Man, who is you, right? Who is you? Inside joke. LP would get that one. Who is you, J Man? Because you said you were on here before, so you must have been going under a different panel name, brother. So who were you the last time you joined on here? Because I'm not.
I don't remember that
It
name
don't
either.
ring a bell.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell unless you were going under a different panel name.
Maybe it's Russian vids. Click that link. We got to talk RV Truth, or maybe that's Tahar's sub
Messenger
account
said
or something.
the messenger said that Mystery Babylon, to my knowledge, is
Oh
the
my
Vatican.
god.
What
Oh
say
my
you?
god, dude.
Hey, hey, look, we're open to have a chat about it. We're open to have a chat about that. So as I said, work that out. You can hop on. Hey, look, we do these shows. We do this just like what these cats over in the ISUPK do, right? They have the open phone lines. That's what we're doing here, right? This is the open phone line. Anybody and everybody can call into this show, and we'll have a friendly, civil discussion. We're not gonna, wish death threats upon anyone like what
Right.
Samuel Owen will do, and all bow down and worship me, and all that bullshit that he's on there saying. I mean, we ain't gonna do that. We're gonna keep it friendly and civil. That's what we do around here.
I lost my cool yesterday, but that's just because Raphael was just he was a damn devil demon. Okay. But that guy he knew some things, so I give him credit for that. Like he was going deep. But Yeah, for the most part, we try and keep it civil. The ITR guys are talking about meeting us in the streets and all that kind of stuff. But wait a minute, I thought we were in the new covenant where you're supposed to deal with, your brother righteously and all that kind of stuff. So
Oh, that's a
what's up with
cut.
that? What's up with that? They're talking about meeting us up in the streets. They all got 44 in their names too. It's like, really? Okay, well then how come the law is not in your inward part? So
Oh, and that's a cut to bear with me just a sec. Let me just write this real quick.
LOP said
Yeah,
he
that's
joined Sakari. What the heck?
he's just messing around.
No, he didn't say that. I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, 'cause the reason why he was making a joke about that the other day, because I saw a video that he put up about he had a scarf on, so I joked with him and said, "Oh, you must be in the Sakari now because you're
Yeah,
wearing their type of
yeah.
scarf." He
LOP,
didn't know I
next
was
time you
joking.
join as Scafari. Just as a joke, dude. So I sent LOP a video, man, of this like quote unquote white dude just freaking out to a quote unquote Jew who we know are the real Jews and just completely flipping out over the mask. I gotta send this to you. I forgot to send it to you. You'll laugh, dude. So I get in these moods where I watch these like videos like World Star Hip Hop and like instant karma and like fight videos. I couldn't
Right.
stop laughing, dude. This person spazzed out in the convenience store. It just reminded me of LOP in like a weird way, but it was funny. But yeah, LOP is not part of Sakari for people that are wondering.
Right.
Babylon is
But I was
American.
gonna mention,
Sorry.
because you just mentioned the new covenant, right? So I was just about to bring up that totally cuts what the preacher's saying, is because when you read the new covenant, it said that everyone would know the law on their inward parts. But it's like,
Yeah.
well, wait a second. Perry's saying we're in the new covenant, but yet in the same sentence he'll say there is no law as long as you believe in Christ. So wait a second. How the hell can we be in the new covenant today if there's no law that you have to follow according to Perry? That don't make no damn sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's crazy, man, that people actually think that there's a future here. I mean, it's very clearly going down. And the truth is that it's actually been going down for a long time. It's just more obvious now. So even Ridge was saying one time, like, America was great. No, it wasn't. America was never great. When was America great? Okay, like hell no. So this is the most brutal enslavement that has ever occurred was here.
It really makes me wonder sometimes. It's funny because these Christians, some of the ones who are awoken, and
Yeah.
know that this place is Babylon, they'll still sit on there and say that, at one point in time, the Most High blessed America. So I'm sitting on there thinking to myself, okay, cool. At what point in history did the Most High bless America? Because if my
Hmm.
memory serves me correct, America, and this is simple searchable history, America was built off of the rape, robbery, and the murder of the Native Americans and the slaves that were brought over from Africa. Right,
Yeah.
this country was built off the slavery of the so-called black man.
Right.
Right, so at what point in time did the Most High bless America? You ask, they can't really give an answer. They're just repeating that because that's the slogan that they heard their whole life.
Right. And I like that people now are waking up. They're like, wait a minute, why do we even work 40 hours a week? Like, who came up with that? And then people are like, oh, it used to be more. This is what shills will say on Reddit and stuff like that. It's like, who came up with that idea? That's a form of enslavement as well. And then obviously the money system and all that kind of stuff. Nahum 3:1, woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery, and the prey departeth not. And so even I was watching Fox News last night. Hannity's pointing out the fact that Biden is lying to us with the Hunter Biden and the laptops and all that. So they're literally telling us that our leaders are lying to us. So it's like, I don't know what to say. Like, and then, kingdom divided cannot stand. And so, I mean, they're telling us that they're lying to you. And then we saw the video that I shared about Biden and the rooster inside joke.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I
I
seen
mean,
that.
come on, dude. Really? They're not stupid.
Right, yeah.
They're the joke's on you. I'm talking about anybody out there who's going along with this system. Guess what? This whole joke, it's on you. not me, okay, or ETT. So like, but I guess if you're dumb enough to fall for it, go for it, I guess. And then they got them in the trick bag when these UFOs show up and be like, oh no, they're the enemies. Really? That's God, dummy. Okay. So they got
Right,
them
right.
screwed, man.
And again, I said it before, and we always gotta hearken upon it. Look, whatever you believe, whether you're an average person in the world that believes that UFOs are, visitors from distant planets, or whether you're a conspiracy guy that believes that they're all fake or, government propaganda, or if you're a religious person, like the Christians, they teach it that's Satan, and demonic demons coming back. Whatever one of those you believe in, they got you tricked because when you see these things, you're not going to take it seriously. You're going to believe it's a threat, that we got to fight against and not believe. Like I'll give an example. I was listening to I believe the channel was called Celebrate Truth or something like that. And
Yeah.
one of the videos they were saying, oh, there's going to be a coming, alien invasion that's going to be a massive deception, to deceive the world, to usher in the Antichrist
Yeah.
savior, and all nonsense like that. So it just shows you that these guys are just, pulling stuff out of where,
Yeah.
to just fulfill their ideas. That's all I'm gonna say.
And I got a couple comments to make. Tim Stone, if you're ever listening to this, you put a message on my chat, one of my videos saying, you got to explain why Trump is not the Antichrist. There's so many verses that prove it. And I asked him, list the verses here, and then I'll do a lesson on it. Guess what I got? Crickets. For all you Trumpers, the Antichrist or whatever, explain it. Like, click the link right now, break it down for us. And then if you believe that Trump is the Antichrist, and that's what Flat Earth Boxer is kind of pushing stuff like that. And then this guy has the nerve to say that Christ and John the Baptist didn't have a good relationship. So these people are just outing themselves as deceivers. Christ and John the Baptist don't have any beef or arguments. What the hell are these people talking about, man? And so, no, there's not one Antichrist. And no, it's not Trump. Trump's just a freaking actor. He's like literally an actor, on TV.
Yo,
So,
go ahead and get because somebody brought up the Antichrist. Go ahead and grab. Oh, what is that? First John. What is that? 2:18.
right.
That's a good one, and I believe there's a second one in the same chapter. What is it? Verse 22, I believe, or verse 20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. In 27 as well. So I'll read both of them.
Right.
1 John 2:18, little children, it is the last time. And as ye have heard, the Antichrist shall come. Even now are there many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. So if it's the last time when they wrote this, what are we in now? That's what we ask people.
Wait a second. Primal Man was just summoned. He's like, see, that proves the end times happened in the first century.
Wow. Verse 27. Oh no, where was that other one? I thought that there was a second verse. Yeah, there is right here. Verse 22, who is a liar but he that denieth that Jesus is the Christ? This is Mike Cav. He is Antichrist that denieth the Father and the Son. And so if you deny that Christ is the Son, then the Father rejects you. So that's a big risk that Mike is taking. I'm talking about deep in the rabbit hole, or where the rabbit hole ends. And notice that all these shills, even Dearth, deep inside the rabbit hole, they all have the same names. Okay, they just give it up in their names. But if you deny the Christ of the Bible, his skin color, his people, what he's planning to do, what he's done in the past, if you deny that, then you deny the Father. And so you are effectively an atheist. So you better hope that person who does that, you have to hope this Bible is not true and that there's another God or there's a God of this God. But we don't accept that. So good luck. And so, everybody's deep, and then they're like, they want to make up their own Jesus. But
I mean, hell, man. We can take Pop's son, right, Mike, as an example. He was on there. 2 weeks ago, he's on there defending the New Testament, and here it is 2 weeks later. Because he's trying to be all deep and whatnot. Now the New Testament's fake is his conclusion he came to. So
yeah,
guys are getting bugged out by trying to be too deep.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, this is not a good time to be remixing the doctrine. It's not like everybody has their position on the mark and all that, but no one doubts at this point that this narrative is the one that's going to be it. This is it. Okay. So, shout out Rooney. Rooney, I was thinking about ETT yesterday. We should call Rooney McGenius, because he got out of this place before shit hit the fan. So I'm gonna call
Right.
Rooney McGenius from now on, because they were a little bit nutty to do what he did on YouTube, but he had a headache, so to speak, and he cured that headache.
You
But
know what I was laughing at, man? Somebody, because you have people going around, which it isn't funny, but you have people going around, they'll take the clip, and try to make memes about it and whatnot, which some of them are clever, but there was one I was watching,
yeah,
and what they did is they said this is a tutorial on how to go to hell, and I was laughing because it's like, well, wait a second, how the hell is he going to hell? So their belief, because they were raised by that Christian dogma that, hey, look, when you die, you're going to go down and burn in hell, right? And everyone believes that. Everyone can sit on there and make jokes about that. But it just
yeah,
shows you these people they're just too far gone, right? Too far gone, man. Hey, that
yeah,
goes into, we quoted the scripture before. What is that? Second Ezra's, the 4th chapter, right? That's a good one, about, hey, look, you can't even understand the things that are here on the earth. So
yeah.
how the hell can you understand the spiritual things?
Correct.
So you guys talking about, hell is a spiritual dimension. Well, how the hell do you know that? No pun intended. But how
Right.
the hell can you know that hell is a spiritual dimension after we can't even understand everything of the physical realm that we live
Right. Right. Exactly. I mean, it's a lot of these people can't walk and chew gum at the same time. That's a saying that people say that people are stupid. It's like, but they know everything about God's judgments and like all that kind of stuff. And so I want people to know, like, does it make sense that God would create something, know exactly what that entity is going to do, and then punish it forever when it didn't ask to be in existence in the first place? Like, does that make sense? So how does that work? Good servant, if you're in the chat, man, click the link, explain it to us. Give me a break, man. These Christians are finished, man. So I don't know, man. Pretty much at this point, if the Bible is true, hell is coming literally to earth, and the day to day, and what's going on, and then the fire. And
in. Right.
if it's not, then the earth is still hell. So either way you cut the cake, as ETT says, it's hell. So
Right, right. And there's no way to get around that, right? There's no way that you can get around it. And we sound like broken records by the amount of times that we go into these things, but these are deep, sayings right here. These are deep things. That's why
100%.
when most people come around here, they'll get confounded, on those particular topics. Like, let me ask you a question. Let me see. Let me just read it. So Babel, we got him in the chat there. Babel, where's hell at? Do you believe that hell is the earth we live on, or is hell like a spiritual dimension that's coming in the future? And by he's responding to that, did you get to ask Raphael about that? Because I didn't get to look back at the discussion, but did he answer that?
So I think what he's getting at, he's spiritual, so we give him credit for that, but he's getting at there's a holding place. The only thing that, if he's a deceiver, if he's taking away, which he was, what I found out later, maybe you missed that part, is that he doesn't believe that that fire that comes from the missiles or from the UFOs is going to destroy body and soul. And so I don't know what he believes will ever, fulfill those verses in Matthew 10:28 and Isaiah 10:18 and all that. But that's what their agenda is. It appears that I found later, and so we can be okay with a holding place in this
Right.
realm for souls to wait for judgment. I can't prove that or disprove that, and honestly, it would make sense. The Book of Enoch would obviously support that, and then lots of verses, in Revelation as well. And so the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and that kind of thing. So that's fair. But then he started going into the missile stuff. And then you start seeing like, oh, okay, he's got another objective. And so he was like, well, what if you die 2 weeks before the missiles hit? Does that mean you avoid God's judgment? No, dummy. Okay. You think God's left-hand side is changing? This guy's supposed to be an Issacharite or an Israelite or whatever. God's left-hand side is being cycled. Okay. You don't change the side or anything like that, for people who haven't figured that out. And so just because you die 2 weeks before a missile hits America, that doesn't mean you're on God's right-hand side or God forgets. Oh, I don't know. What side were you on again? You still get the judgment of the left-hand side, which is what we read in Matthew 25. It's permanent. And so I don't like, these people are just getting super deep, man, and they don't understand that God's in control of everything. And they're supposed to be Israelites. That's a Christian answer. That's something good servant would wrestle with. Oh, what happens to this and all that kind of stuff. Like God hasn't already figured it out from the foundations of the world. So
right.
it's not that hard.
So right, and it brings to mind, there's a verse in the Apocrypha that says that the eyes of the Most High are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, right? And so what it meant by that is that the Most High sees everything, man. You can't hide from the Most High. Just like, to give a good example, is you just have to read the book of Jonah, right? Jonah, he was sent to go give warning to Nineveh,
right?
But he wanted to flee, from what the Lord told him to do. He fled from what the Lord told him, and the Lord saw that, so he sent, I would call it a fish, but you wouldn't agree with that, but that's another topic. But anyway, when you read that,
yeah,
the Most High punished him, for not obeying, his voice, right? So it just shows you that the Most High has his eye on everything that's going on, and that's why, with this whole conflict going on in Ukraine right now, there's a bunch of sightings of UFOs above the war zone over there.
Yeah.
Why? Because the angels are watching, all of these events that are taking place, down here on the earth.
Yeah. And so, that's hopefully very, very obvious at this point. This is another verse that's a good one that, again, for people to understand, it's the same narrative. If it was a different narrative, then we would tell you, okay, Deuteronomy 32:22, for a fire is kindled in my anger and shall burn unto the lowest hell. But that doesn't mean that it's beneath the earth, because you just got to read this next verse, and shall consume the earth with her increase and set on fire the foundation of the mountains. The mountains and the increase is above the earth. So just because it says the lowest hell, that means this earth is the lowest hell. Because again, people don't understand there are levels to this, as Tahar would say. So above is the heavens. Okay, we're in the underworld here in this realm. And so the entire Bible is speaking of a destruction on the earth.
Hey, Ecclesiastes 3:16.
Right. So, I guess why are people, thinking that it's a soul torment? So I'm just trying to find another verse. About the fire. So ultimately, God's judgment is coming to this earth.
All right, well, hey, man, I'll see you again later, man. I'll log off for now, man.
Okay.
But I'll catch you around then. All right.
Yeah. Enjoyed it, man. Take care. Peace.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
Bye.